It's spring. Let's make some wood planter boxes for our home decor. Keep watching. I'm Brandy, and this is Making It My Own DIYs. Welcome. You can watch my videos on Mondays and Thursdays at 6. Subscribe for free, and I'll see you in the comments. We're going to need floral foam. We're going to need 3 of these planks that are the same size as the panel plank that you see down there. I only had 2, so we're going to use an Easter sign for the other. We're going to need a trellis from Dollar Tree. I'll be using some cutting tools and a metal ruler. We're going to take the hangers off and the tags off because we are not going to be needing those for this project. We're going to turn these signs into a box. That's right, a planter box. So I'm going to cut these at 18 inches. I'm going to measure down from the end and make 2 marks on each of these planks. And it's actually going to be all 3 of them because I have to cut the other one to make as the bottom. These will be our sides. The short pieces that we have left over are going to be the end pieces. And then the bunny sign, the section we cut off of that, will be the bottom. So I'm scoring this, and this is just a carving tool, and I'm just going to cut into there. Now, if you don't want to do it this way, go ahead and use your miter box and your saw. When you pop it like that, if you have not scored it on the other side too, you will have some breaking. I did. You can see here how I goofed it up. I left it in here so you could see. I'm going to use a permanent marker and cover it up. Now you'll never even know. How about that? We don't give up that easy, do we? Okay, I'm going to take some of my building blocks and start looking at how we want to assemble that. There's the bunny sign. So I know the bunny's going to be the bottom, these are going to be the sides, and they are going to stand like so. Okay? In my mind, I'm thinking of where I'm going to glue everything. So, if you go to the inside, about as wide, and I'm not giving you an exact measurement because I don't do that on my channel, but it's about 1/8 of an inch, 1/4 to 1/8 of an inch, just enough room so that these are supports, and when we set that other panel up, it is going to sit snugly against that, right up against those little pieces. Okay, so we got the bottom down. Now I'm going to add glue. I'm going to just line it up so I know exactly where those blocks are. I'm going to add my glue, flip it up, sit it down on that base, and hold it tight. Now I'm going to hold it there for a minute or so that that glue is dried. Then I'm going to go around, turn it around to the other side, and we'll do the same exact process on this side. So the building block is attached to the bottom and attached to the side. These are our supports that are going to hold it all together. This is a piece that you will need to keep inside. This is not real wood, and if it gets rained on, it will fall to pieces. This is an inside arrangement only, folks. Okay, so lift it up, push it down so that it's sitting on that base. Once it's cooled, we'll start on the sides. Same process here for the end pieces. And you can see how these signs are a little bit warped. They always are when I get them from Dollar Tree. I don't know if it's just my store. Do y'all experience that too? No worries though, they're so lightweight. We're going to make this work. So I'm going to use these on the sides as well. I'll have glue to the short part and to the thick part, and then that way I am gluing, you'll see here, so the short side and the thick side, and then I will push those right up so that both pieces touch each side, or the side and the end. Leave it there, hold it and wait. I didn't make y'all watch me hold it the whole time. And then I'll go back in with my glue once everything's cooled and go around all of the seams with my glue. This is just going to give it more support and more stability. Here we are on the last section we have to glue down. Same exact process. Supports, holding those together. Okay, so now we're going to take that black chalk paint that I have, and I just chose to go over all of my edges. Now, you don't have to do this because it already looks rustic and old. You know, it's the same colored as what it is in all of those little cracks in the planks. You could totally leave it like that if you want to, but I just wanted to show you what you could do if it bothers you. The holes that are in the ends, fill those with a little hot glue. When the glue is dry, go ahead and paint them, and then you won't see those holes at all. This is going to need some weight. So I found these wood scraps that my husband had left over from something he was working on. And I'm going to use these just to put in the bottom. It's going to work as a platform, and it is also going to give it weight. So yes, so it will not flip over when we add our things to it. I decided to use a pool noodle, cut that down where it fits in each side down there, adding some glue to those pieces of wood scrap. I'll push those down in there. And this is just going to add a little bit more height in there so that the box, I don't have to reach so far down with the stems. You know, if you put your foam too far down, then your flowers are going to disappear into the box. I don't want that to happen. So I'm going to trim down the leftover section and just add those little pieces of pool noodle scrap right down in there. And then I'll add some more foam right on top. Now this foam is like packaging foam, so it's kind of it's a really good quality foam. It works well, and I like to save it when I get things, and I'm always buying something. Okay, so I got this at the thrift store, but you can get like the hula skirts from Dollar Tree if they still have them, and you can use this or some type of raffia if you have a big bundle, and just pull out sections, cut it off, and just press them down in there. I like to kind of wind mine up a little bit so it doesn't fall all over the place. Still going to be a little fallout while you're putting it together though. And this is going to kind of cover up the gaps if you put your flowers in and you can still see through them. I don't want that white to be showing. So these are leftover picks that have already been used before in other projects. I'm going to use these. I'm also going to use some scraps of leaves. And then I knew I wanted to use sunflowers for this, but you can use mums or anything that you want to use. I just like to use the sunflowers. Now I chose sunflowers. These came from Dollar Tree that have a golden tint in the center, so they're yellow and gold. Some sunflowers are just all yellow, but I wanted mine to look more fall, so I chose these. I'm going to cut these down, leaving them as long as possible, and the last one I'll leave on the long pick so that we have one long flower. I also have some sunflowers that are thrifted as well. Now I'm going to add my trellis. I'm not going to get it all the way against the backboard because I don't want the balance to be kind of, even though I put the blocks in the back, I worry that it might try to tip over. So I'm going to leave some space there. But I'll show you how to secure it. Now we've pushed it down into the foam, and I'm also going to use some of these blocks. I'm using 3 because that's the space of mine between the wall of the box and the back of that trellis. See, it fits perfectly in there. That's going to give me some more stability. I'll add some hot glue to the box and some hot glue on the back and the front side of the trellis, and then I'll use a little black paper to cover that up to help hold everything down. And it should be pretty darn secure at this point. Okay. Now the fun part, we get to start putting our beautiful little planter together. So I'm going to take these picks that look sort of like Milo or wheat to me. It's probably not what they are, but that's what they look like to me. So we're going to go with it. I'm going to put one on each side. If I would have had 3, I would have put one in the middle. And cutting these apart makes a huge mess because they have grassy pieces that will fall out, and they are free. They're not even on a stem. They're like wrapped around like a continuous piece. So yeah, not going to do that. They have really pretty wheat picks at Dollar Tree too. If you can still find them, they're very nice. All right, so here's some of my thrifted ones. They're on longer stems, so they are going to go in the back. If I would have had even longer pieces, I would have put them up higher than the grassy sections on the side. Ideally, that's how I would do it, but we're going to make this work, okay? So I'm going to continue to put these around. You know, sunflowers follow the sun, right? So ideally, I would have them all facing the same direction. You don't have to do it that way. You could definitely put them off to the side, or, you know, perhaps if they are nestled underneath the grasses, they can't get to the sun like the rest of them, and that could be why they're shorter. We're going to go with that. That's a pretty good excuse to me. We're going to go with that. Okay. Okay, we're going to just start adding in here. Now, like I said, some of them are shorter, some of them are longer. I want my longer ones to be toward the back, and the shorter ones are going to be more toward the front. You may do this any way you like. I am also taking the heads of the flowers and twisting them where they are attached to the wire. If you bend that wire, it will make them face out. And that's what I want them to do. So that's what I'm going to do. Now these obviously are not all the same. I'm not bothered by that. I am using what I have left. And I don't think it's that noticeable in the end. All right, now I'm going to continue to add in, and some of these pieces, I think one of these picks came from TEMU that I took apart. I picked off, see the little baby ones? I think that gives it a little more interest. I like those in there. Once I get all those flowers in there, I'm going to start adding the leaf picks that I cut apart, and there's like 4 leaves on each one of these. Some of these are more yellow, some of these are more, or they're more muted, I guess, and some of these are more orange. I'm just trying to kind of put them here and there, and it also helps cover up the base. Okay, we're going to continue along. I get bothered when I have matchy-matchy side by side, so you will see me move things around. That's just how my mind works. But you can feel free to do this any way you like. And you don't even have to add these if you don't want to. Make it your own. We're all about budget friendly and just taking inspiration, right? The things I do are to inspire you. You might not find the exact same thing that I have, but be inspired. I want you to start learning to think outside the box. What could you use instead? I get lots of great comments from people who tell me how they're going to do, something, or I get emails from people who tell me, they show me their pictures and I can see how they took that inspiration and they made it their own, and that is awesome. I'm so proud of y'all. You're really getting it. You're getting it, y'all. So here's that completed box. I just used those same markers to color my harvest wish sign. All right, we're going to start off with a 4x6 little house-shaped frame, 2 of these from Dollar Tree. And we're going to use 4 of these little picket fence pieces. And here's the little code on the back. And we're not going to need the strings, so you can take those off. We're going to use some paint stir sticks. Mine are 12 inches long. I have some of these that I've had for a long time that I got from Dirt Cheap. I'm going to use those now. And then I'm going to use some smaller popsicle sticks. I'm going to use some antiquing wax and wipes, but you can use any type of watered down paint that you like, a paintbrush. And I'm just going to start off by removing these. If you're going to do this, go ahead, and if you want to take the time, remove your staples also, but I didn't bother with it. Then we're going to open up our frames, take the backing, the glass, the paper, and these little tabs that hold it down. I'm going to take all those out. Sometimes they'll just pull out with your fingers. Sometimes you got to use some pliers. So, I like my rustic look. We're going to achieve that look with a little antiquing wax and a wipe. Now, like I said a minute ago, just go ahead and use whatever brown paint you have. Even Dollar Tree has a variety of paints. Just add a little water to it. And then the goal is to be able to see the stain, the texture of the wood underneath the stain. So you don't want to use like a brown paint, and I'm going to show you that shortly. You'll see the difference. Using some type of a antiquing wax or a watered down wash will give you a rustic look where you can still see the wood grain. So I'm going around all of my edges and trying to get in between the slats also. Y'all, I've got a new goal. My new goal is to reach 15,000 subscribers by August the 1st of this year. I'm really excited about that. I feel like it's possible. I have lots of people who view my videos and give such wonderful feedback, and I would really love to change some of you viewers into subscribers. Being a subscriber gives you notifications of all my updates, all my new videos, and tabs in the community posts, so we get to talk there too. Plus, I do giveaways pretty often, and you don't want to be missing out on that. Okay, so if you see here in between, there are some little like splintering or little rough spots. You can just go ahead and fold down a piece of sandpaper, and mine did come from Dollar Tree. Fold it down and just run it right through those cracks and smooth it down. Now, you could do this beforehand, it'd probably be best, but I did not do that. You can see the little I don't know if you would call that like a backer or whatever that holds those pieces together. We're just going to go across those little beams in the back with some brown paint. I didn't water this part down because I like it looking like it is recessed, and if you use a darker color, it will kind of push that to the back. Visually, anyway. Okay, so this is what it looks like if you just use a regular brown paint. And I think this is Teddy Bear by Folk Art, this brown color. And you can certainly do it this way if you would like. I'm just doing this because I know that the arrangement I'm going to do, you will not be able to see the pickets on the inside of the flower box. But on the offhand chance that in a later season when I change this out to something different, you might be able to see down in the box. So I think it would be best if I just go ahead and cover up everything that's on the inside so that you don't see it. Now see, the top is where it's painted, and on the bottom is where you can see I watered it down with a little bit of water in that teddy bear paint. So I did that intentionally so you can see the difference. Now we got to attach these together, and I'm trying to get my spacing right. So you can see here that they are not exactly squared, meaning they do not sit flat and those pickets are not spaced apart exactly. So in order to try to make up for that, I want my box to sit flat. So I'm standing them up, you know, kind of supporting them with the ruler to make sure I have a flat surface on the bottom, and just using some popsicle sticks that are colored that I painted and to go across there. Now to make sure both sides are the same, I'm just going to stack them on top of one another, and we're going to follow that same process. Add your glue on the bottom and the glue on the top, and we'll have nice flat edge picket fence pieces. If you can't find these picket fence pieces, you could also just make your own. It'll take a little more time, but you can definitely make your own from popsicle sticks. Or you could use the little pallets that you get from Dollar Tree. It'll give it a little different look, but it'll be okay. Now here are our house frames. You can go ahead and paint those whatever color that will match. And I'm just using these little pieces here. Now these are actually garden stakes where you can, you know, put carrots and peas and whatever you have in your garden. But I've had them for a long time, and I thought I would go ahead and use them here in case you don't have stir sticks. Grab something that maybe you've thrifted or that you already have in your stash that you haven't used yet. So we're gonna just go with what we have. I'm going along the inside edge of that frame to decide how long I need my pieces to be so that they will fit snugly down into that depression in the frame. I'm going to do it on both sides. And then you can use whatever process you want to use to cut these down. I do have a miter box and a saw, and so that's how I chose to cut mine down. I'm going to start with my center piece. I do recommend that you want to use something like maybe a Gorilla Glue, or if you have a regular glue stick. If you want this to last a long time, you might want to use something like E6000 to do this. Totally up to you. But I know this probably would not hold up to the weather, you know, outside on your porch if you're using regular glue. So I'm just going to space these out a little bit so that they kind of mimic what we have going on with the little picket fence sides. And then we're going to put little cross beams that are also painted because we want this to look like the fence. And see, the fence has it in the back. Now we want that to be the same thing on the both ends of our box. So these are the ends, the tall ends, the tall frame pieces rather. I'm going to trim down these just with my little bullnose pliers. They're also little wire cutters. I'm going to cut those down, and then they will fit nicely on the back there. You can still use stir sticks or large popsicle sticks. Whatever you have, go ahead and use that. You may have more than 3 pieces. If your pieces are thinner, you may have 5, you may have 4. Whatever you have, just make it work. And then I'm just going to use my hot glue and go across there to make sure that it is secure where I want it to be. And so this is how it's going to look, all stained and painted. And then do the same thing on the second piece, but in order to get them even, I'm just going to go side by side, mark them so that I get my planks or my little cross beams in the same spots, and everything achieves a nice high-end look. We want this to be pretty and high-end looking. But of course we want to save money, so this is how we do it. Now we have matching ends for our box and we have our sides done. How are we going to connect these together? We're going to use our tower blocks that we got from Dollar Tree. I got a box a long time ago and I am still using the same box. These make great supports. So we're going to start off by putting our glue down on the side and lining up that side piece. I'm going to add some hot glue to the bottom and to the side and place down one of my blocks. It's not necessary for you to paint or stain these, but it is your personal choice. If you would like to, you certainly can. Of course, you want to hold that for a minute to let the glue sit up, and then you're going to do the same thing on the other side. You're going to add your glue there. Make sure that it's kind of square and even. You can feel that with your fingers. Apply your support, and then we're going to start working on the other side. I've flipped it over, and I'm putting my supports the exact same way that we did on the other side. Very easy. This is also going to be a support for us when we put down our bottom beams so that we have something to hold our foam. Okay, so now we need to see how long we need our bottom braces to be, and we're going to just cut down those popsicle sticks. I'm just measuring against the side here. We're going to cut those down. I'm just using my little it's like a box cutter tool that you can get from Dollar Tree, and it comes in a 3-pack. They work very well for this type of thing. Score it on both sides and edges, then you can just twist it and it'll snap off. So there's an option if you don't have a miter box and saw. Alright, we're going to place the first one down there, and then we're going to do the next one. Same way, doesn't have to be beautiful and it does not have to be painted. If you're enjoying this video, I would love if you would give me a thumbs up. Now, so to connect those two together, we're going to use some shorter popsicle sticks, which happen to fit wonderfully in the bottom. I'm going to start off with just 3 across the bottom, and then I'm going to add a little bit more in there to make sure that it's going to keep my foam from falling out all over the place. I initially thought that I would use the type of foam that's like a styrofoam, but when I was looking through my stash, I noticed I had a lot more of the really fine textured floral foam that you use for live flowers, and I decided to go ahead and just use some of that. If you were to use that type of foam for live flowers, you just soak it in water first, and then you put it in something that will not leak, and then, you know, go from there. Leave me a comment below if you are enjoying this video. If you've never done another one of my projects but you've been watching, you really should consider doing this one. This one is so inexpensive, and it's going to take you all the way through the year in all of your decor. So Dollar Tree offers 2 different types of this foam that I was referring to. One of them has 4 pieces, and the other one is one long rectangular piece. It's going to take 1 piece of the smaller ones and 1 of the big ones to fill up the bottom of this. I'm just going to glue it down to make sure that my foam does not come out or wiggle around when I'm trying to make my arrangement, because I'm going to be putting a lot of flowers in here and really packing them in. Okay, so now I'm going to take my thrifted flowers and greenery, and you can certainly get things at the Dollar Tree that are really gorgeous. Mine all came from Goodwill. That's where I thrift my florals. And here's an example of the things I'm going to be using: some mini roses, a couple of types of hydrangeas, and these are kind of peachy and pinky color, which I am loving this spring. I'm going to add in my greenery, 1 of these big sprigs, because I only have 4, 1 to each corner, just to kind of hang over and stick out in the sides. You can use ferns for this from Dollar Tree. You could use any type of greenery you like, really. And see, my box came undone. I had to fix it back. That's why you need Gorilla Glue. All right, I'm going to start in the middle with my tallest flower, and this is going to be hydrangeas. They kind of they look better as they are in nature, and they kind of form a ball, like a little floral ball. So I'm going to try to keep that look when I put all of these pieces in here. I'm going to keep them kind of domed where the highest part's going to be in the middle, and they'll be a little bit lower on the sides, and then I'm going to add some greenery and those little roses here and there to just give it a little more texture and a little more interest. Don't be afraid to cut down your flowers, your wired stems, to cut leaves off where you need to. That's what it's there for. Get your wire cutters, go to town on it. You can always, if you cut something too short, add a pick to it, glue it, add some floral tape, and fix it right up. So see, I had that one in the corner too low. All right, so you can see right now how it's looking so far. And we're going to continue to look at it from all angles and see what we want to add next. I'm going to go in the sides, and I kind of want to do the same thing in the front and back. This is going to be more of a symmetrical type. You can see how it's domed here. This is a symmetrical type arrangement. We don't have that wild look that I usually go for. We want things to be completely in harmony. With an exception, I do put some things hanging down in the front, just a little bit. So here are these cute little roses. I'm going to leave them in bundles of 2 and 3 and just add them here and there. They are almost exactly the same color. Now, if you don't like this monotone look, you can certainly use white or yellow. You can use any color that you like. And that same goes for the hydrangeas. You don't have to use pink. Use whatever you can find and whatever it is that you prefer for your decor, of course. I can just see this box for every season already. I have ideas of how I'm going to use it, and I'm so very happy to say that I will be using this box throughout my decorating this year and doing several different arrangements. So be sure that you make one of these boxes so that you can follow along and we can do it together. I'm loving this so far. I wanted to add a little bit of this bluish green because I think that it looks really great with the peach, and it gives a little more variety in the greens that we already have in there. See, now it's where it's taking it to a more rustic or cottagey look because I'm adding all those other little sweet details into it. I've really kind of gotten away from just, rustic farmhouse. I'm doing a lot more cottage in my house. How are y'all doing your decor this year? Are you changing anything up? Or are you going to stick with the same thing? I'm really enjoying the romantic cottagey feel. I'm redoing my bedroom, and I'm just really liking adding the flowers and some other things to the room. It's just really making it feel so cozy and feminine. And this is what we got so far. What do you think? This is the time to add your final touches. Put in some extra where you need it. Move some things around. Here is our flower box. Isn't this adorable? I absolutely love this. I love it, I love it, I love it. Y'all mean so much to me. If you're a viewer and you would like to become part of this YouTube family, it's so easy to subscribe and it is totally free. And I give you all the goodies because I believe in you and I believe in our creativity. Thank you so much for stopping by, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.